The Grand Canyon door no one was supposed to open. In the spring of 1909, an explorer drifting through one of the largest canyon systems on Earth noticed something that should not have existed at all. It was not the cave that caught his attention. The Grand Canyon contains thousands of caves. Some are shallow, some extend deep into the limestone walls, and many remain unexplored even today. It was the entrance. High above the Colorado River, where bare cliffs rise like stone fortresses, a dark opening appeared unlike the surrounding rock. According to the account later published in an Arizona newspaper, the entrance seemed artificial, shaped rather than broken, deliberate rather than natural. And fitted into that opening was a detail that transformed a strange discovery into one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. Iron. Not scattered fragments. Not abandoned tools. Iron worked into the entrance itself. More than 1,000 feet above the river, in a place difficult to reach even with modern climbing equipment, someone, or something, appeared to have created a doorway. And that raises a question that has survived for more than a century. Who builds a door inside a cliff? The Grand Canyon is often imagined as a place of overlooks, tourist paths, and distant views. But that picture is incomplete. Beyond the railings and observation points lies another world, one of hidden ledges, isolated walls, deep side canyons, and vast sections of terrain that few people ever enter. Distance behaves strangely here. Cliffs that appear close can require days to reach. Entire valleys vanish into shadow. Openings remain invisible until sunlight strikes them at exactly the right angle. That was the landscape facing G.E. Kincaid, the explorer whose name became forever attached to the mystery. According to the Arizona Gazette article published on April 5, 1909, Kincaid had spent months traveling the Colorado River, recording geological features and surveying parts of the canyon. His work was ordinary. The discovery that followed was not. The report claimed that somewhere within the Marble Canyon region, Kincaid noticed an unusual reflection high on the canyon wall. The surface looked smoother than the surrounding stone, almost as if the rock had been altered by human hands. Curiosity led him upward. The climb was difficult. Loose stone, steep slopes, narrow ledges. A mistake could have ended the expedition immediately. Yet after hours of ascent, Kincaid reportedly reached the opening. And according to the article, the first thing he saw was not a natural cave. It was an entrance. That distinction matters. A cave is geology. An entrance is intention. An entrance means planning, labor, purpose. Someone had wanted people to pass through that opening. And perhaps, at some point, someone had wanted others to stay out. Kincaid entered carrying a lantern. The darkness beyond the entrance did not end after a few feet. It continued. The passage extended deeper into the canyon wall than he expected possible. The floor was level. The ceiling remained high enough to walk comfortably. Side chambers appeared at regular intervals. That detail changes the story. Natural caves create irregular spaces. Architecture creates patterns. And according to the account, patterns were exactly what Kincaid found. Rooms opened along the corridor. Storage areas appeared to have been carved deliberately. Large containers reportedly held traces of preserved grain. Copper implements were discovered. Blades, tools, objects whose purpose was unclear. The important question was not what these objects were. It was why they were there. Storage suggests permanence. Food stores suggest preparation. And preparation suggests that whoever occupied this place expected to remain there for a very long time. Then the story became stranger. The newspaper account claimed that Kincaid discovered thin metal tablets covered in symbols he could not recognize. No drawings of these symbols survive. No photographs have ever been found. Researchers later questioned whether such objects existed at all. But if the report was accurate, the discovery would have changed everything. Because writing transforms a settlement into something larger. Writing belongs to memory, to records, to administration, to civilization. And civilization hidden inside the walls of the Grand Canyon creates a difficult historical question. Who built it? But there was another problem. According to the article, Kincaid contacted the Smithsonian Institution after returning from the expedition. A follow-up investigation was allegedly organized. Additional researchers reportedly entered the canyon. And then the record became quiet. Researchers later searched for expedition reports. Nothing. They searched for photographs. Nothing. They searched for catalogued artifacts. Nothing. That absence does not prove the discovery happened. But it creates another question. Because archaeology leaves traces, even failed expeditions leave paperwork, letters, maps, receipts, transportation records, museum inventories. The silence surrounding the story eventually became part of the mystery itself. The Smithsonian later stated that no evidence exists for such an expedition or discovery. For many people, that settled the matter. Case closed. Yet others noticed something unusual. The original article was remarkably specific. Specific names, specific locations, specific descriptions. Most invented stories become weaker when examined closely. This one became stranger. Because the geography itself is not impossible. The Grand Canyon contains extensive cave systems formed in redwall limestone. Large chambers exist. Hidden passages exist. Entire sections remain inaccessible to ordinary visitors. The canyon is fully capable of concealing places larger than most people imagine. That does not mean the story is true, but it means the setting itself cannot easily be dismissed. And perhaps that is why the mystery survived. Not because people proved the cave existed, but because proving something does not exist inside a landscape this vast can be far more difficult. Then there is another layer to the story. Long before newspapers described hidden chambers beneath the canyon, indigenous traditions across the American Southwest spoke of places below. Underground worlds, sealed locations, ancient openings in cliffs and stone walls. These traditions differ from one culture to another. Their meanings are complex and should not be simplified. They are part of oral history, not archaeological proof. Yet the idea appears repeatedly. Hidden places, protected places, places not meant to be entered casually. That is where the iron door takes on a different meaning. At first, it is simply an object. Then it becomes evidence. Later, it becomes a question. Because doors exist for a reason. Some are built to keep people out. Others are built to protect what lies within. And that leads to perhaps the most difficult question in the entire story. Why reinforce an entrance high above a river, in a location almost impossible to reach? Weather alone does not explain it. Animals do not explain it. An ordinary shelter does not explain it. Something about the place mattered enough that someone invested effort into creating a boundary between two worlds, the world outside and the world beyond the entrance. According to later retellings of the story, the deeper chambers contained carefully arranged human remains, carved figures, and symbols unlike anything Kincaid expected to find in Arizona. Researchers debate these descriptions to this day. Some view them as newspaper exaggeration. Others believe details were distorted through decades of retelling. Still others argue that perhaps a real discovery existed behind the story, but its meaning changed over time. All of these possibilities deserve consideration. Good history survives questions. Bad history avoids them. More than a century has passed since the article appeared. The newspaper still exists. The canyon still exists. The mystery remains. Millions of visitors stand on the rim of the Grand Canyon every year, looking into a landscape so immense that ordinary ideas of distance begin to fail. Entire cliffs disappear into shadow. Hidden ledges remain unseen. Places exist there that receive fewer visitors in decades than city streets receive in a single day. The possibility that the canyon could hide something is not difficult to imagine. The difficult question is deciding what kind of thing it could hide. Perhaps the entrance never existed. Perhaps the story was exaggerated. Perhaps names were recorded incorrectly and records disappeared through ordinary bureaucratic processes. Those possibilities deserve to remain on the table. But another possibility remains as well. That in 1909, men exploring one of Earth's greatest landscapes believed they had found something that did not fit comfortably into the historical understanding of their time. And once that possibility exists, another question follows immediately behind it. What happened after they reported it? Because discoveries usually create attention. They create debates, expeditions, papers, arguments, follow-up investigations. The Iron Door story seems to move in the opposite direction. The larger the discovery becomes, the quieter the record becomes around it. That may be coincidence. It may be misunderstanding. Or perhaps the simplest explanation remains the oldest one. Someone built the entrance. Someone used the chambers beyond it. And at some point, someone decided that whatever remained inside was better left undisturbed. More than a century later, the canyon keeps its silence. The article survives. The questions survive, and somewhere between history, rumor, geology, and memory, the iron door remains exactly what it has always been. Not an answer, a threshold. And perhaps the most interesting question is not whether anyone opened the door in 1909, but why someone believed it needed to be closed in the first place.